Hello, friends. Good morning. Or good afternoon, or good evening, whenever it is that you are watching this video. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for spending a little time with me. My name is Michelle, Coach Michele Peterson, and it is time for a little coffee break. So today is Q4, the beginning of Q4. And what does that mean for you? I ask that because Q4 is the end of the calendar year. It could be the middle of your fiscal year. It could be the start of your fiscal year. So what does Q4 really mean to you? And now here's the beauty of it, because it's like the beginning of a new quarter. So beginnings are always great. Or it could also be the end. So it's the beginning of maybe the end of your year. And that's exciting too. Have you ever considered, though, that Q4, if you are on a calendar year system, have you ever thought that what you do in Q4 is actually setting you up for success in Q1 of next year, right? And I think that's so interesting because I think so many of us, we have this race to the finish line mentality. And then once we cross the finish line, we've made it. But then what happens? It doesn't just end at the finish line. So it doesn't just end at Q4. We start all over again, right? In Q1. So I think this is so powerful to think of as we continue to choose to work from home, that we think like that CEO. We think like the person who is in charge of our long-term success. And yes, we absolutely have to have our short-term goals, and we absolutely have to take all the steps necessary to reach those goals and finish the year strong. But let's also, because we are a CEO, we don't just have one thing on our mind. We also have in mind the long-term, the big picture of where we want our business to go. Remember, we are the CEO of me, right? You are the CEO of you. And so it is so important to think like a CEO. Think that Q4 is not just the end of this year. It is really getting you set up for a great year next year. So as you go forth and conquer your fourth quarter, do think about what you're doing that's going to really carry forward and make a big impact for you next year. And if that's putting systems in place, if that is figuring out a new networking strategy, if that is figuring out a new way to stay connected with people, if that's just figuring out a new way to communicate with people, I think that we should always continually be looking at our systems and our processes to see what we can improve. So I encourage you to do that this quarter as well. What can you improve this year, this quarter, so that next year will be even better? What can you do little tweaks to? I think if we consider that, and not just where we're going right now, it is a beautiful thing. So for example, if I am in direct sales, okay, so you might know I have a little side hustle that is as a Mary Kay beauty consultant. Now, if I were just going to look at the end of this calendar year, and of course, holidays are coming up, things it's usually a really big quarter. But if I only focused on sales, if I only focused on capitalizing on a big selling season, does that mean that I'm neglecting building my client base? Does that mean that I'm not reaching out to new people? Is it Does it mean that I am neglecting to ask people to be on my team? It could, right? And wouldn't that be a shame if I got so wrapped up in just the sales that I neglected all the rest of what will propel me forward to more success, right? So we have to, yes, go strong for our goals, but also remember how those goals fit into our bigger picture, because sometimes they're a small chunk. Sometimes they're a big chunk, but they're almost always not the only chunk, right? So make sure that we are looking at everything and doing what we can to, like I say, set yourself up for even more success in next year's Q1. All right, that is my message for you today. And it's funny, it's a little bit late today because I just got so wrapped up in other stuff. Have you ever had those mornings where you're in the zone and then all of a sudden you look up and you're like, wow, how did all that time go by? So I apologize for it being a little late today. I do hope that you have found this helpful though, and make it a great day. Make it a great month. Make it a great quarter. Make it a great end to your year, and make it a great stepping stone to next year. Have a wonderful day and a great weekend. I will see you again next week. Bye for now.